Khator, who is the director at Lighthouse Info Systems. And he's also pass out of Ramdev Baba Kamla Nehru Engineering College.
Right.
And then he went on to do his MBA from University of Houston. So, sir, welcome to Richo.in's Compex booth here. This is the 25th edition of Compex, as you must be aware of. So the first fireside chat question to you is: you worked before going to MBA, before doing your MBA, you worked, I think, in India for some period. Then you went on to go there. So what were the few differences or funny anecdotes that you would love to share the experiences of your US trip?
Sure, absolutely. So, thank you so much for the kind introduction and having me here. I've heard about Richo, and I've seen their presence out here. So it's absolutely fantastic. The vibe is great. To give you a brief background about what I did over here before I went to the US. So I graduated from RCOEM, did my engineering, started working with Gemini, which is a French financial IT MNC kind of a company. So what we were specifically doing over here was product development and managed services support. So it was interesting in terms of that was my first experience out of college. Learning was a lot in terms of how do big organizations work, how do actually projects are laid out, function in a live scenario, in a big scenario, right? Moving on to a different environment completely, getting used to the culture, the language, the lifestyle, everything was not really a challenge, but something absolutely new. People are very sporting. That is a very major difference. The work culture is very open in terms of you can go out and talk to somebody about anything, right?
Right.
So
right.
that relatability factor is much higher. The work part is also very clearly laid out. So the major difference that you see in work structure over here is that you have to fit into too many roles. Over there, your work role or the kind of responsibilities that you share in the organization are pretty specific.
It's pretty specific.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sir, my second question to you is, since after you came back, I think you joined Lighthouse.
Yes.
So your dad has been running that institution for so many years in Nagpur, Mr. Rakesh Khator.
Yeah.
So how was the experience getting into the company, and any new things that you tried or you had resistance? Any funny anecdotes about that?
Right. So always, change is difficult, but change has a lot of learning that it brings along with it.
Right.
So, because I spent about 4 years odd in the US, and when I came back, and I had never really worked in my own organization before, right? So although, I could have walked in with a sense of ownership, but I started from the bottom. Like I learned my steps. I did, outdoor field marketing. I got the pulse of the market before I actually got into a position to say, yes, this is what we should do, what we should not do. Something that, in terms of culture, what I did think that should be brought upon was, of course, the openness, the open door, the open, the no cubicle, no cabin actually. It's all open space kind of environment where you can, anybody can just walk up to you. There is no sirs. You relate to each other as on a first name basis.
Right.
You hang out with those people out after work, right? You just go out, have a dinner, and socialize with them. So that gives you a better bonding. So that was a major change.
So talking about the openness, so now you allow Facebook and Gmail inside the organizations,
Definitely.
the social media.
Yeah. I mean that is a part of, because there are so many influences that are coming in these days, and of course so I'm heading and handling business development, right? So we have to reach out to so many people. So my network is also a part of my people's network, right? So my people are, or my team is adding to that network. So of course, the more the people, the better we can.
That's very commendable of you, sir.
Yeah.
Nice thoughts there. So the last question that we want to ask you is like, you said that you have launched some cloud solutions, cloud ERP solutions here at Compex.
Yes.
So there is a lot of talk about helping small businesses and traders, as Mr. Sundar Pichai of Google had come in and said that Google also wants to do in there. So you have launched something new. So what is your pitch to the traders so that you would love to say something about that here?
I would love to address that. So Like we have been associated with Compex for the last 25 years. Like we were there in terms of our organization has been associated with Compex since its first year, right? So it's been a long journey. We have seen everything, all kinds of computing, all kinds of business solutions, right? Now, when you talk about business solutions, the complete package, right? The complete solution becomes very important in terms of offering, in terms of what solution you are presenting, how you are presenting it, and how feasible it becomes in terms of costing, in terms of scalability, in terms of performance. All these things matter, right? Until we were on the cloud system, what used to be the case was you needed a pretty big infrastructure to go in for an ERP project, right? So our typical clientele were large organizations, right? People who would have typically 50, 80, 100 odd users. Like for a 100 odd user setup, you would need a substantial amount of infrastructure that people would typically create in-house. Now, what has fundamentally changed in terms of cloud computing is we are now bringing it onto the cloud. So you do not need to invest upfront into infrastructure. Now, what that enables you to do is pay for just the number of users that you're having, right? So what has changed is you do not need to go in full bang, like get a big project for 20 users. You can start small with just 5 users or 3 users. So that makes it very attractive for the customers.
Attractive, right.
That is what we believe. Because our solution was always acceptable. Before we went into Oracle ERPs or any big scale ERPs, we had a small business solution which was mainly for accounting and inventory management. That is still running around 700 places in Nagpur itself, right? So the acceptability, the reach we already have, we are bringing on the people to a new platform with the help of cloud computing. So it has been an enabler for us.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot for your time here at Richo.in's Compex studio here. We wish you and your team a very happy Makar Sankranti as well as the Happy New Year. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.